Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Hey, fuck. Why does it do that? Let me know if you can hear the sound of my voice. Okay, there we go. Sorry. This is a completely different thing from Google Plus, and the software is different, so it's streaming in a totally different way here. I don't totally understand it, and there's this thing where the sound gets all like distorted and high pitched and everything, and like really painful to listen to, and so you have to adjust this level here. I don't know why that is. Anywho, as I was saying, there is no comment section down below. I don't know why. This happened last night during the Impact review. Apparently, the comment section was disabled. I'm still trying to figure out why. I've been trying to figure out why. No progress yet. Google Plus is screwing with me for some reason. So until I figure out why the comments won't work, I guess we're using the chat room. Which is going to make things more difficult in terms of people asking questions and leaving detailed comments. I know a lot of people like to do that. I'm sorry. So until I can get the comments re-enabled, we've got the chat room, or you can send questions to comments to my Twitter account. I'm at TheRealFK9. Maybe you should contact YouTube or Google. Yeah, I've tried. I'm still working on that. Anywho, so it's back to the chat room for now. And I much prefer the comments section just because it's easier to keep track of. But this is the best I can do for now. Anywho, let's get this show a-rolling. Alright, we got 3 shows here. If you want to ask me about Supergirl, you can. I can't promise I'll have a good answer because I haven't watched Supergirl this week yet. I did not like the pilot very much at all, and I wasn't left with a burning desire to watch the second episode. I'll try to catch it at some point, but I was not filled with confidence after the pilot. Anyway, let's start. The Flash. Season 2, Episode 5. The Darkness and the Light. Team Flash joined forces with Earth 2 Harrison Wells to defeat Earth 2 Dr. Light, who just so happens to be the Earth 2 Linda Park. Crisco gets outed as a metahuman, and Barry goes on his first date with Patty Spivot and somehow manages not to screw it up. This episode would work on the strength of the new Harrison Wells alone. Where the hell have they been keeping this guy? He is absolutely delightful. He's already my favorite version of the character that we've seen. He's sassy, sarcastic, legitimately funny. He got all the best lines in the episode, and he was actually a really effective stand-in for the audience, too, when it came to dealing with Crisco. I've already talked about how it was really dumb that Crisco was keeping his powers a secret from Team Flash. They tried to give an explanation for that, but I didn't buy it. It was stupid. I get that he was freaked out, but that should be even more of a reason to tell his friends. But then they address this, and Wells says pretty much exactly what I was thinking the whole time. Crisco, I know you have powers. Those powers can help us deal with this Dr. Light problem, and I don't feel like waiting around for you to stop being a pussy about this, so cut the bullshit and use your powers already. That was great. I like this guy a lot. Earth 2 Harrison Wells needs to stay forever. Something else that was really cool here was Earth 2 Dr. Light, or rather, the idea of Earth 2 Dr. Light. Now they're introducing this concept of invaders from this other dimension, or multiple other dimensions, potentially being different versions or evil versions of characters from this other world. Of characters from this world, rather, that we already know and trust, which has a lot of cool story possibilities, not the least of which would be Killer Frost, a different evil version of Caitlin. There are some really cool things they can do with this idea. And they're already taking advantage with Barry having to fight an evil version of his ex-girlfriend. Sure, they could have gotten more out of that, But hey, they didn't kill her, so maybe she can come back. I'd be all for that. And yay for pulling the trigger on Barry and Patty Spivot. I was like, it was like something out of a really bad romantic comedy when he was pretending to not be blind during the date, when he could have easily told her that he just got his pupils dilated first thing. It's like, hey, Patty, I should explain about this. I had an appointment with the eye doctor earlier, and I'm a little screwed up at the moment. You know, Patty's a reasonable person. Did he think she wouldn't understand that he just came from the eye doctor? That was dumb. But aside from that, the date is actually really cute. And look, Iris is even happy that Barry is going out with Patty. Because Barry and Iris have no romantic chemistry whatsoever. And at least in this instance, that's how the writers played it. And what do you know? When you play it that way, with them just as friends, it actually works. What works a lot less for me is the Caitlin J. Garrick thing. I get that they're interested in each other, but their almost kiss in the car was kind of lame. We descended into Smallville territory again there for a second. I get that there's an attraction between them, but I'm not buying the connection yet. It feels like they're trying a little too hard to force this thing, and it's not clicking for me, at least right now. Something else I did not get was the scene on Earth 2 when Jay Garrick shows up at the press conference. I don't read the Flash comics, so I don't know about this situation, but is Jay's identity as the Flash public knowledge? Because if it's not, then he was being really stupid here. He's not wearing a mask, so anyone could have snapped a picture of him and found out who he is. If his identity is not a secret, then fine. But if it is supposed to be a secret, then this was really stupid of him. As was the entire fucking climax. It was really stupid. I'm sorry to say, you had a pretty good thing going with this episode up until that point, Flash writers. But then you had to go and drop the ball. Barry is fighting Dr. Light, and because Barry is once again being written as a fucking idiot who never learns anything, he's having a lot of problems with her. How do I beat her? I don't know what to do. Somebody help me. God damn it, Barry. You're the fucking Flash. You are facing a woman who moves at normal speed. A metahuman who can throw bursts of light from her hands, yes, but still, she has the reflexes and reaction time of any normal human. Therefore, this should be no different than fighting a normal human with a gun. Hell, it was already mentioned in that episode that you can run fast enough to time travel. For God's sake, you can move fast enough to pull bullets out of the fucking air, which you also did earlier in this episode. This should be easy. All you have to do is use your speed to run at her really fast and knock her out, faster than her normal human reflexes can react to you. Or, I don't know, throw a lightning bolt at her? Because you can do that too now. Remember? But no. No, instead, Barry is going to hide behind a wall and stay away from these blasts of light that he could easily dodge until someone tells him that the only way to beat Dr. Light is to run so fast that he creates light illusions of himself. Funny. If he could do that, I don't see why he couldn't just run at her really fast and punch her in the face and knock her out. But that would be the smart thing. And as we've learned by now, Barry is not very smart. Neither is Jay Garrick, apparently, so he won't help Barry deal with Zoom if he thinks the plan that they're cooking up with Harrison Wells won't work. So what, he thinks that not helping Barry at all and just completely removing himself from this situation entirely is a better way to keep Barry safe? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes about as much sense as Barry's dad leaving town because he thinks Barry can't be the Flash and have a father at the same time. as per usual, this episode is not without a good deal of stupid, and the way they beat Dr. Light was totally contrived and way more complicated than it needed to be. However, the Barry-Patty relationship is a big step in the right direction for this character, and like I said, Earth 2 Harrison Wells was so much fun. He elevated everything he was involved in here. So there was some dumb stuff in this episode, but there was a lot of good stuff too. That is my thoughts on The Flash. And I am going to go to Twitter questions now. Let's see. Hold on. I took screenshots of these. Fuck. Here we go. Let's see. Alright, I said, sorry, Patty, I was blinded by a freak flash of light and I can't see very well just now. Patty's reasonable, she'll understand. And, at Pedro Lunian says, she's in love, so... ... Yeah, it's like I was saying, look, just tell her. You could actually tell her the truth. Did he think she wouldn't buy it? You have a very good explanation, Barry. Just say it. And then I said, isn't Jay Garrick worried about his secret identity? At Pedro Lunian says, that is dumb, unless he's vibrating his face all the time. Okay, so it's not just me, right? I mean, he shows up, he has no mask, he's not doing anything to conceal his identity. Is his identity public knowledge? In like, the Earth 2 comics? I have to assume it is. I have to assume it is, otherwise this makes no earthly sense at all. And... let's see. Come on. At ParadoxoXKid says, with all the tension between them, do you think Wells will have a hand in getting Jay's speed back? I would not be surprised. They start out at odds, not being able to agree on things, and then have to learn to work together. It makes sense that Wells would have a hand in restoring Jay's speed, because they've already got kind of a mountain to climb to learn to trust each other. So, yeah, I would suspect that would be the case. And let's go to the chat room. Okay. Right. Zach Harris, Google Plus is just so wonderful, isn't it? Ugh, dude, don't get me started. There's got to be a simpler fucking way to do this. Man, it's really annoying. That gaming asshole. I have relatively little to say about this Flash, other than thank Christ they're pushing forward with the Hot Pursuit Flash relationship and most likely dropping the Iris one. Yeah, that's already a big step in the right direction, isn't it? When Barry told Iris about the date, and she was like, really? That's great, Barry! Good for you! She's happy! There's no trace of tension there! She's not disappointed that he might be hooking up with another dude. She's happy for him! Good! Let's move away from the Iris stuff! This is much better! Let's see, that gaming asshole. More so, Iris is so much less annoying now simply by removing her from the equation in this way. Jesus, what a difference the second season makes. Yeah, pretty much. The Save Me one. The fan theory that Zoom is Earth 2 Barry Allen seems to be right. The Earth 2 villains want their doppelgangers dead, and Zoom wants Barry dead, so it makes sense. Well, they did kind of thread that needle here. I mean, now we know that we may have to deal with alternate versions of our main cast at some point, so it would stand to reason that Zoom is another version of Barry. I would not be surprised at all. Plus, they said that Barry is more powerful than Jay used to be, and Zoom is more powerful than Barry, I guess. So yeah, I suspect that's where they're going. Let's see. Gore492. Earth 2 Harrison Wells is a boss. Fuck yeah, he is. He's great. Coastal Edius, now that Linda Park of Earth 2 is Dr. Light, I wouldn't be surprised if the Caitlin Snow of Earth 2 is Killer Frost and Zoom is Earth 2 Barry Allen. Yeah, I'm hoping for Killer Frost. That would be cool. Because they did set that up in the Season 1 finale. That Giving Asshole. Based on that and Earth 2 Harrison Wells, I give it a 9 out of 10. Thank God they pulled that fucking trigger. I'm downright giddy. I'd rather have a bad rom-com than Iris shipping. So would I. Coastal Edius. Tony Todd is the voice of Doom. No shit. Huh. Did not know that. Coastal Edius. Could Fourth Dimension Fool Killer be the Fool Killer of Earth 2? Oh, that would be a twist, wouldn't it? And if it makes you feel better, somewhere in the multiverse, Fool Killer is the owner of TNA Wrestling. I would do such a better job running that company than Dixie Carter. I don't know about the business end, but I think I could make the TV show better. Or at least more interesting. Boy. Okay, I gotta get through these faster, or else they're just gonna overwhelm me. Okay, Zoom is definitely Earth 2 Barry Allen. I have no idea why they're pretending otherwise. Dr. Light blinded Barry last time. What? Duke Nukem 3DO, Dr. Light blinded Barry last time? Well, she did once in this episode. I don't know about last time. Gore492, who do you think Zoom's identity is? I don't know. Right now I'm going with Earth 2 Barry Allen. It's a better explanation, better guess than I could come up with, since I don't read the comics. Okay. That Giving Asshole. I hate this chat room. It just... because it loads the new comments without me having to click anything. That Giving Asshole. Earth 2 Flash doesn't wear a mask because back then no hero wore a mask, but everyone just ignored it for no discernible reason to see Superman. Well, unless he conceals his identity in real life, like wearing glasses or something like Clark Kent, then that's kind of stupid, isn't it? That Giving Asshole. To give you an idea, there was one hero from the Golden Age who used his first name as part of his hero name. His girlfriend had no idea who that mysterious man was. Well, she was probably pretty dumb then. To save me one, Flash and Arrow have one of the same problems this season in that everything seems to be leading up to Legends of Tomorrow and the main stories are getting chump changed. I think it's a little bit more of a problem on Flash. And with Arrow, I mean, they are doing that, but it seemed like it tied into the narrative pretty well, too. I mean, they could... and the whole bringing Sarah back to life thing ties in with the League of Assassins, which ties in with what Thea's going through, so I think they did a better job of it than Arrow, the Flash is right now. Jeff Atwood on Heroes Reborn. Heroes Reborn, it's explained that Claire died due to giving birth to twins. Claire could not regenerate after birth, which leads to her kids having powers and Claire dying. Yeah, I don't buy it. We've already seen that Claire's powers can resurrect the dead. I assume that would account for her dying as well. So it can resurrect other people after they're dead, but it can't resurrect her? Yeah, that's pretty weak. Which hot blonde is more annoying to you, Kim Bauer from 24 or Claire Bennett from Heroes? Oh, Claire Bennett, 100%. Okay, Jeff Atwood. Ronda Rousey's next fight is next week on Saturday night. Will you watch the fight? I'm going to watch the UFC fights, including Ronda's at a sports bar. I'll try to catch it. Somehow. I don't know if I'll pay for it, because I kind of feel like I get ripped off paying for a Rousey fight when they're over so quickly. Alright, last question, then we're moving on to Arrow. Heroes is getting so... that Giving Asshole. Heroes is getting so complicated I can scarcely explain it all. Future people, world-ending eclipses, androids, yeesh. Yeah, it's, I don't know what to make of that show. Haven't watched the new episode tonight. I kind of forgot it was on, actually. Honestly, I don't even know if I might not even watch the rest of the episodes. I'm losing interest rapidly. You know, this whole thing would have been so much better if they just started a mandate in the writers' room: no time traveling. This shit is more trouble than it's worth. It was in the original show, and now it's on this one too. It's okay. All right. Here's a. Well, I can't really do all the. I can't really do the shows one at a time when I'm doing a chat room. So, Estefania Coronel. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Do you think Lincoln and Daisy will get much closer in Agents of Shield? Certainly seems that way. Um, I think she's had more love interests than just about anyone else on the show, and they definitely seem like they were teasing that last season. So yeah, I think they probably will. I think static quake is a new thing on this show now. Uh, Not sure when it'll happen because Lincoln's still not even on the team yet. But yeah, it does seem like they're heading in that direction. Okay, you know what? I am going to mark this point in the chat room so I know where I left off in case the comments get away from me. And just like that. Okay, now I know where I left off. All right, Arrow. Season 4, Episode 5, Haunted. You know what? It's kind of warm in here. I'm kind of sweating right through this chair, this shirt, and I've got a leather chair here. So I'm going to open the window. 1 second. That's better. Okay. Arrow. Season 4, Episode 5, Haunted. The newly resurrected Sarah thwarts Laurel's attempts to keep her chained up like an animal, escapes, and starts killing people. So Oliver makes a call to an old friend, John Constantine, for help. They restore Sarah's soul to her body pretty easily actually, and everything seems to work out. Meanwhile, Quentin and Dig learn some things about why Dig's brother was killed by Hive that he really did not expect. Poor Diggle. What we have here is a good episode with a really cool premise that was unfortunately brought down somewhat by a fair amount of stupid things happening. There was a great setup for this. You've got Sarah returned to life, but not in her right mind because her soul is still out there somewhere. And all she really knows is that she's consumed by an urge to kill and to seek out the person who killed her, that being Thea. And they have to stop her, but how do you do that without killing her? And maybe you should kill her because she is in fact killing other people. There's a lot they can do with this. But the route they took left a few things to be desired, so hold on to your kneecaps, because this means I'm about to bitch about Laurel again. Laurel knows how dangerous Sarah is. I can accept that she wouldn't want to tell Oliver about how she brought Sarah back to life at first. Even though she was an idiot for keeping it a secret even that long. But I can buy it, sort of. Because she knew Oliver would not have wanted her to do this. But she did it anyway, so I get it. At least it's that far. But then Sarah escapes with the potential to do God knows what, starts killing people, and Laurel still doesn't tell Oliver. I get that there's a bond between sisters or whatever her excuse was, but Laurel really needed to prioritize here, and she didn't. You didn't tell Oliver because you didn't think he'd understand? Can you kind of see why? Do you see why Oliver would probably have some reservations about this? Sarah was killing people, Laurel. You're an idiot. And then, oh my god. The scene in the hospital. Okay, after Sarah has killed several people, after Sarah has almost killed Thea, put Thea in the hospital, Laurel actually has the balls to blame Oliver and make this all about herself instead. Oliver, I know people are dying here. I know your sister was almost killed. I know I trifled with elemental forces that I couldn't possibly comprehend, and now a lot of other people are paying for my mistake. But have you considered, I mean really considered, just for a minute, about how this all affects me? I'm not even paraphrasing that much. That's the crazy thing. Laurel wants Oliver to care about her issues when Sarah is out there murdering anyone who comes near her. Laurel, I know you've had a tough time recently, but given the circumstances, forgive me if I don't give a rat's ass about your issues right now. Fuck you. And while we're on the subject, there are some things about Sarah's behavior that don't really add up either. She's driven to kill the person who killed her, Thea. Alright, that makes sense. They even have a connection where she can sense Thea because they were both in the Lazarus pit. Okay, I can buy that. So far, so good. But if Sarah can sense where Thea is, if she can home in on Thea and find her wherever she is in the city, and that does appear to be the case, then why was she trying to kill other women who look like Thea? Isn't that kind of weird? Anyway, they need some magical assistance with this problem. It just so happens that Oliver knows John Constantine. Really cool to see Matt Ryan back in this role. He was always great in it during Constantine's brief run last season, and he still is. He fit right in with the rest of the cast, too. I would love to see him make more appearances. However, it did feel like the process of returning Sarah's soul to her body was kind of easy. Going into the spirit realm to find a lost soul and return them to their body, think about all the stuff you could have done with this. But for the most part, all it amounts to is Oliver, Laurel, and Constantine moving from one room to another room and beating a couple League of Assassins red shirts. And Jesus Christ, even in the spirit world, the League of Assassins can't fight for shit. And just like that, Sarah's back. I really wish they had spent more time on that, honestly. In my opinion, the pacing is what hurt this. This would have worked a lot better if Oliver finding Sarah alive had been the episode-ending cliffhanger, so that in the next episode, they could have spent like 75-80% of the time in the spirit world dealing with weird, mind-bending spirit world shit in order to bring Sarah back. Instead, that's all condensed into just a couple of minutes, and they really don't take advantage of the possibilities of that situation at all. Essentially, they just go to the Nanda Parbat set, and they have a fight scene. They didn't have to go to the spirit world to do that. I was really hoping there would be more to this, but no. The flashbacks. Right, flashbacks with Oliver and Constantine. Those were fine. I think they were stretching it a little bit to get all this, get this all into one episode, so they had to cut corners a little bit. I still have no clue why that evil general guy seems to trust Oliver so much when he really has no reason to, and actually has more reason to be suspicious of him. I mean, that other dude is bringing up some pretty good points. Hey, I found this stuff, and none of our men were dying or stepping on landmines until this guy showed up. Isn't that kind of weird? Shouldn't we maybe check him out a little more thoroughly? But no, the general just trusts Oliver. Implicitly. Almost seems like he trusts him more than his own people. And that really doesn't make sense. But the stuff with Oliver and Constantine, that was good, if a little bit rushed. Also rushed, unfortunately, was the stuff with Quentin and Diggle. I I really wish they'd saved this for another episode where they could have devoted more time to it. This was really the first time we've seen these two characters work together, and I wanted that to be more. I wanted that to be more fleshed out. But Damien Dark sends Quentin on a mission. We skip we skip over most of that mission, right to him and Diggle already having infiltrated this building, and then they take out. They fake out the security guys who respond to the alarm so easily that it's almost funny. None of them were asking how Quentin got in there. He's following a hacker. Okay, well, shouldn't you're a cop? Shouldn't you have alerted security that you were in the building? No, they don't ask any questions. I did really like the twist that Diggs' brother might have had good reason for h.i.v.e. to want him dead. That was really clever, but a revelation like that deserved to be in an episode that would devote more time to it. It shouldn't have been relegated to the B-plot in an episode like this. So bottom line about this one, there were good ideas here, but the execution and pacing didn't work as well as they could have. It was really cool to see Constantine, and he elevated the episode whenever he was there, and I really hope they bring him back. He was certainly the best thing about it, but some of the creative choices the writers made here just left me wanting more. Okay. Arrow. Questions from Twitter. Let's see. I said, Laurel, Sarah's killing people, but this is really all about me and my issues. Fuck you, Laurel. At Pedrolunian says, old Laurel was back for one episode. The old needy crybaby Laurel. Yeah, aka Season 2 Laurel. Wow, I really did not miss Season 2 Laurel at all. I said, even in the spirit world, the League of Assassins can't fight for shit. At Pedrolunian says, sending Oliver and Laurel was overkill. Next time, send Lance and Felicity. It might even be a fair fight. Hell, I don't think you probably wouldn't even need to send Lance. I think Felicity could handle these guys herself at this point. Have the League of Assassins won a single fight on this show? I don't think they have. Wow, I mean, of all the villains to cut the balls off of. Weird. Let's see. I said, can we just keep Sarah alive this time? I think she's died enough. At Pedrolunian says, Sarah is Arrow's resident Goku. A Dragon Ball Z reference that went right over my head because I never watched Dragon Ball Z. So I'm going to assume that means something pertinent to the Sarah situation. Okay, those were the Twitter questions. Now we're going to the chat room. The Save Me one. Is it just me, or did Felicity seem a little threatened at the fact that Sarah was back? No, I don't think so. No, I don't. I think it was just you. I didn't get that vibe at all. I mean, Sarah and Oliver had already broken up, and had been broken up for a while. Before Sarah died. Plus, I mean, Felicity and Oliver are very much a very serious, very much committed relationship. I don't think Felicity is. I don't think she would be. I don't think she'd be threatened at all. No. Gore492. This episode reminded me why I hated Laurel so much. Yeah. I think they kind of rectified that at the end there. Where she sort of admitted to a couple of the things she did wrong here, but yeah. This was an unfortunate reminder of Season 2 Laurel, and I hope it's the only one we get. That Gaming Asshole. Felicity should be, honestly, I love Felicity, but Sarah is hotter. I disagree. No, I guess it's just a personal preference thing. I think Felicity is hotter, personally. In my opinion, I think it's the glasses. The glasses are what do it. Glasses on women are hot. I'm sorry. Something very sexy about a woman with glasses. The Save Me one. Did anyone pick up on the dig at NBC? John scratching his back with the feather of a dead peacock. I didn't actually, but that's a good point. Well, that's clever. I didn't get that, but yeah, that might have been a dig at NBC. That gaming asshole. Have you seen Sarah as Black Canary? Jesus. Yeah, I have. I'm sorry, I think Felicity is hotter. Like I said, just personal preference. That gaming asshole. Oh, is that what the peacock thing was? Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it was. That gaming asshole. This episode felt like several steps backward for Laurel's character. I was fucking reeling at how stupid she was in this episode. Her actions in the last 3 episodes are fucking unforgivable. Unforgivable? I wouldn't go that far, but she was definitely being very reckless and, kind of stupid. Well, very stupid, actually. But at least I could understand her and sympathize with what she was doing up to a point. But when Sarah escapes and starts killing people and she still won't come clean, that's the unforgivable part. That's when I started thinking, Laurel, fucking tell Oliver what's going on. Okay, you fucked up here. Okay, all those dead people, that's on you. Okay, it's not just about you and Sarah anymore. This involves other people, innocent people. So, yeah. I could sympathize with her up until then, but not anymore. Previously, Laurel never got anyone killed, but now there are literally dead bodies in her fucking wake, and all she can do is whine about no one is paying attention to her. Fuck you, Laurel. Yeah, I really didn't like her in that scene. Jeff Atwood, I think Paul Blackthorne is a good actor, especially when he played Stephen Saunders in 24 and Harry in the Dresden Files. He didn't have as much to do this week, but he was terrific last season. And I remember him in the Dresden Files. That's actually how I got into the Dresden Files series. I have all the books back there, except the most recent one. Because if I read the most recent one, then I have to wait for more. So I haven't read the most recent one yet, but I do have all the books, and I will continue to buy them because they're great. And he was really good on that show. Let's see. That saved me one. That gaming answer. Felicity is a geek girl. Hot Sarah is sexy hot. Dude, geek girls are sexy, man. I'm sorry. Geek girls are very sexy. Oh, man. That gaming asshole. The whole spirit realm thing was stupid. What was the point of that? That black general guy seems to be downright crushing on Oliver. I don't get it. Yeah, the whole spirit realm thing was a missed opportunity. Like, they didn't do a thing there that they couldn't do in the real world. It's like, why are you going to the spirit realm if you're not going to do some kooky, fucked up shit that can't happen anywhere else? Wasted opportunity there. I give it a 3 out of 10. Fuck this noise and fuck Laurel. 3 out of 10, really? Wow, I wouldn't go that far. It was not one of the strongest episodes, certainly, but 3 out of 10? Nah, this wouldn't. It was better than that. At least a little bit. Costaledius, if we never see you don the trench coat again, Godspeed, Matt Ryan. Oh, I hope we see him again don that trench coat. I really do. Luke and Stone, Laurel sucks. Completely irresponsible. Even when the show tries to hold her accountable for her stupidity, she gets to weasel out of it by defensively throwing Oliver's part in his face. No comment necessary. Oliver's past in his face. Yeah. You're right on the money with that. Oh, boy. Okay, just slow down with the comments here, or I'll never finish. That gaming asshole. Calling her Goku means she's an overpowered Mary Sue who never loses fairly, so he's calling her John Cena, basically. Right? Costaledius, off topic. There's a YouTube video of John Barrowman watching the Stephen Amell match from SummerSlam. Check it out. All right, I'll try to find that when I get a free minute. Luke and Stone, and then it's him with the convenient fix for her mistake, with him with the apology that resolves the issue, and she had the nerve to insist on being seen as an equal. It really bothered me that there didn't seem to be any repercussions, and Laurel didn't seem to feel any real guilt for all the people who wound up dead as a result of what she did here. It bothers me. Okay, Jacob Walton, my thoughts on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this week. Another solid episode. I like the idea of Andrew as Lash. It explains so much about why he didn't want to kill Daisy. Timing of him and May having issues while he was gone. Plus, now that May killing the human girl is so much more tragic, for Andrew seeing Inhumans is what cost him his marriage, and maybe that's the reason he kills certain Inhumans that he deems unworthy. All good points. We will talk about that in just a minute. But goddammit, they kill the other Von Strucker. With this show, please stop killing all its villains. He is... maybe. He is not necessarily dead. I think he might still be alive. He could very well be dead, but I don't think we had a confirmed death at the end of the episode. He might still be around. Zach Harris, I don't watch Arrow, but I agree with you about Geek Girls. Hell yeah. But he has a cool hat, Sean Simon says. I don't know who you're referring to. The Save Me one. Shouldn't Thea have been able to handle herself better in a fight than that? You would assume so. But Sarah isn't exactly herself right now. She's kind of like an animal, and we can assume that she's fighting with zero inhibitions, and Thea is probably feeling some guilt about this situation because of how it relates to her. And Thea would not be fighting with a clear head, and she's not going to want to hurt Sarah because Sarah's her friend. Had she been fighting at full capacity, then she would have done better, I assume. But she wasn't. And I can see why she wouldn't want to be. And I am marking this part right here. Boom. There we go. So I don't get lost. Okay. Excuse me. Alrighty. Moving on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Episode 6, Among Us Hide. May is pissed off that Hunter's plan to kill Ward resulted the way it did, so she benches Hunter and pulls Bobby back into the field. Much to Hunter's dismay. Daisy and Mac are on a wild goose chase to find out who Lash really is. Fitz is running a background check on Space Asshole, and thank God someone is, because the list of things that don't add up about that guy is just getting longer and longer. And it turns out that Andrew narrowly avoided being killed by Werner von Strucker. But not in the way that he says. Dun dun! Okay, so we find out who Lash really is this week. Great reveal on that. Even though I was the one telling you guys about this possibility a few weeks ago, even though I thought it was pretty likely, it was still a great reveal. And a downright chilling sequence, actually. By the way, A+. A fucking plus on those transformation effects, Mark Kolpak. Really impressive stuff there. I wish I could take credit for the theory that Andrew was Lash the whole time. I really wish I could, but I can't. That was not my theory. That was something I read on Tumblr. It was just a theory that I thought made a lot of sense. And it's true that some people on the internet did think this could be a possibility. They did think this might be where they were going. So in that regard, The writers made a really smart decision by not wasting any time and revealing it as soon as they did. If they had waited until the mid-season finale or something, the cat would have been out of the bag, most likely, and I think everyone would have been on that train by that point, but by only waiting 2 weeks, I think they were able to preserve the surprise nicely. At least for a good chunk of the audience. Plus, I thought they did a nice job in diverting people's suspicions. In 2 ways. First of all, by having the Lash reveal be right after Powers Booth shows up. Let's face it, having Powers Booth playing the human form of a killer monster creature, that would not be much of a stretch. Because Powers Booth. And, wouldn't it be insane if it had been him? If the guy on the World Security Council in the Avengers, who was bossing Nick Fury around in that movie, who was already evil with ties to Hydra, who already has the authority to order a nuclear strike, is also an inhuman killer monster on top of that, it would have been awfully tempting to go with him, wouldn't it? So I can see why people may have been suspecting Powers Booth just on that basis alone. And they also did a good job of addressing the Andrew situation right away, showing that he survived the attack by Werner von Strucker and giving him a perfectly logical reason for how he did so. Coulson had a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent tailing him for protection. If the story had been true, I'd have been, yeah, okay, I can buy that. That makes sense. That's a good explanation for how he can still be alive. Okay. But then they start dropping a few subtle hints. I loved his conversation with Simmons. There was some clever subtext there, because if you listen to the dialogue in this scene carefully, specifically the "stronger than people think" line, if you listen to that knowing that he's Lash, it means one thing. But if you go back and watch it not knowing that he's Lash, it means something entirely different. I love when the writers add little cues like that for the viewers to follow. That's clever. Now, if you watch TV closely enough, and if you're one of those people that actively look for stuff like this, and you're cognizant enough of these things to recognize certain tropes like that, it might cut down on the surprise factor, and you might have been suspecting something was up at that point, because if you assume that Lash was a character that we had already met or were about to meet, and then go through process of elimination, there were really only a couple of people that he could have been. But of those people, Andrew was far and away the most compelling option, because of his close ties to the team, and how it will affect them, but most of all, how it will affect May. They have a wonderful opportunity to do some really great stuff with May, because this is one of those very rare times when we might actually see her showing her vulnerable side. We've only really seen that side of her one time in the entire series, in the Bahrain flashback episode. The rest of the time, she's always been this completely stoic, unemotive stone wall. Except in a few scattered moments with, maybe Coulson. But not really to this extent. The list of characters that she allows to see any other side of her, you can count on one hand. And you don't even need all the fingers on that hand. But Andrew is one of those people, and with him being Lash, it's going to cut right through all that. This was her husband, the man she wanted to make babies with. So just think about what's going through May's head right now. I've long been wanting to see the more vulnerable side, the more human side of Agent May, and if anything is going to do that, it's this. This is going to destroy her. So I'm really excited about what this could mean for May. I think they're about to put her through some really gut-wrenching stuff, and I can't wait to see that. Something else I cannot wait for is when someone finally discovers that Space Asshole is no fucking good. I'm assuming it'll be Fitz, because he's already on that trail. Last week, we learned that Simmons had a relationship with this guy on Planet Death. And Fitz swallowed his feelings and told her that he'd help her find a way to get this guy back. And there is no possible way on Earth that it is going to be that simple. I have an addendum to my review from last week. I have thought of another. I have thought of several more additional reasons why Space Asshole is not what he appears to be, and no one should trust him. Check this out. When Simmons figures out where the next portal will open during the flashback episode on that planet, Space Asshole says that the portal will open in a no-fly zone, meaning that, according to the story he had told her previously, the Death Entity would not want them in that area and should have been waiting for them there, right? And if they were really heading toward the portal, it stands to reason that it would try to stop them like it did in the climax, because it doesn't want people to leave. And yet, they reached the place easily, and guess what? No sandstorms. Why is that? Well, remember how I said that we never saw Space Asshole and the Death Entity at the same time? Maybe if they can't physically exist at the same time, then he would have had to leave Simmons in order to become the entity, thus possibly arousing suspicion, and he couldn't do that. Here's a big one, and I can't believe I haven't seen anyone else mention this yet. If two of Space Asshole's crewmates killed themselves, and he was forced to kill the third in self-defense with an axe, like he said, that was the story he gave her. Two of them killed themselves, the other he had to kill in self-defense with the axe. If all that is true, then why the fuck did his gun only have one bullet left? So he really expects us to believe that NASA armed the guy that they sent to protect those scientists with a gun that only came with one round? Just one round? Really? No. No, I don't buy it. That's a bunch of bullshit right there. In fact, it is such bullshit that I can't believe Simmons never bothered to question it. So tell me, Space Asshole, if that is your real name, where's the rest of your ammo? What did you do with it, you shady fucker? Because I think that maybe you used it up when you were murdering your fucking crew! And seriously, you guys, I know I mentioned this last time, but why the fuck hasn't he aged at all? Look at him in the flashback episode. Look at him in that picture that Fitz found. Now look at him in present day. He looks exactly the fucking same. The motherfucker has not aged a day in 14 goddamn years. I saw a post on Tumblr that got some high-resolution screenshots of all the research Fitz had done about Space Asshole. And you see when he started training for NASA in like 1992 and stuff. And apparently, if you do the math, he should be in his 50s by now. Looks a lot younger than that, doesn't he? And a lot of the details about his backstory, or should I say, all the details about his backstory that you could make out, do not match with what he told Simmons about himself at all. Tell me that's not really fucking suspicious. Plus, if you look at all that other information, a lot of it, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff you couldn't like see. A lot of it was only there for a split second. But if you get screenshots and you do get like high res and enhance and stuff, no, his story does not add up. There are a ton of discrepancies here. The guy that Fitz is researching is not the guy that we met on that planet. It doesn't match. That guy is hiding something. There have literally been like 15 teases, and yes, I counted them. Like 15 different teases in just the last 2 episodes that there is something very wrong about this guy. But maybe he was a normal person when he went to that planet, but now he is something else. And sooner or later, they're going to find out what? Hopefully kill that evil son of a bitch, and then I will be happy. It's actually a very chilling scenario. Because now it's like, what the hell did Simmons just step in? If he was a normal man before he went to that planet, he ain't normal anymore. Plus, you're dealing with some kind of malevolent force here that is supposed to have powers of coercion and persuasion, powers to screw with your mind and make you believe certain things. So what the fuck really happened to Simmons on that planet? Especially after she started a relationship with this guy. Yikes. Some freaky shit right there. So, yeah. That's going to be a big plot point. They didn't have Fitz find that picture for no reason. Fitz knows what Space Asshole looked like before that mission. So when they go back to that planet and find him, Fitz is going to take one look at him, see that he still looks exactly the same as he did a decade and a half ago, and then it's all going to click into place that this motherfucker is some kind of space monster or a puppet of the Death Planet or a ghost or something like that. But until then, things between Fitzsimmons are going to be really fucking awkward. The scene they had here together in the lab was so telling in that it seemed tension-free on the surface, but the fact that it came off that way just shows how much they're both holding back. Fitz is trying so hard to act like he's cool with all this. He's not. And Simmons is trying so hard to convince herself that Fitz is cool with all this so she won't have to feel guilty about the position she's putting him in, but she does. And this is going to be so painful for both of them when it inevitably blows up. And there are signs already. Simmons trying to make Fitz feel better by saying, oh, if you knew, Space Asshole, I promised you'd understand. Yeah, Simmons, that's not helping. Fitz doesn't want to hear that. He really doesn't want to hear you try to justify it by saying what a great guy this evil fucker is. I'm sure you mean well, but that was the absolute wrong thing to say. Yeah, that's making it worse. There was so much tension between these two right now that they're desperately trying to ignore, but that's only making it worse. When this boils over and they finally address the elephant in the room and really have it out, it's gonna hurt like hell. It'll make for some great drama, but yeah, it's gonna be painful. And I imagine that the eventual reveal that Space Asshole is whatever the hell he secretly is really going to put Simmons through a ringer. They're going to some pretty crazy places right now, and I think it's going to get a lot crazier and a lot darker before it calms down. So, just for the moment, I am very glad that we have Hunter around to try to inject a little bit of levity into this situation. You know, good for him trying to be Fitz's wingman. And it was funny, even though he was kind of making it worse, too. You're sure this guy kept Simmons warm for a few months with fire. Like, Hunter, making it worse. Just go away, dude. He doesn't want to hear that. So then Hunter goes on the mission to find Banks, and oh my god. I fucking love Hunter in this episode. His mission to kill Ward failed. Almost got Andrew killed. So he gets benched while Bobby, the person he was trying to protect, gets pulled back into the field. Now he's trying everything he can think of to make himself useful, and everyone around him is like, Hunter, stop doing things! When he puts the bandana over his face and goes to trank Banks, that just gives the all clear. Like he thinks like, yep, I nailed it. I'm good. And Daisy and Mac are in the van shitting themselves like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you fucking nuts? But then hey, it turns out that Hunter actually had a good idea. Or at least a crazy idea that worked. It's like, yeah, we got him unconscious here. We're going to take his blood. We're going to find out if he's an Inhuman. And then if he's not, well, we'll just set him loose. Daisy's like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. Okay. You're still crazy, though. But yeah, Hunter actually had an idea that worked here. If only Rosalind Price's idea to get closer to Coulson had worked. Okay, S.H.I.E.L.D. writers. Listen to me very closely. I'm not playing around here, okay? This is a serious question. When the hell are Coulson and Rosalind going to fuck? This needs to happen, and it needs to happen soon, because I can't take much more of this. The chemistry is ridiculous. And just look at what happened here. They're going for rides in the backseat of a limo together. She takes him to her house, or what may have been her house. She opens up about her life and her dead husband, who is dead, which means that she's available now. She brought you fucking takeout, Phil! For Christ's sake, she's given you the green light, man! Go for it! What else does this woman have to do to get you to stop cock-blocking yourself? God damn it! He actually cock-blocked himself. I couldn't fucking believe it. He just takes the burgers and throws them in the trash. Like, Coulson, you idiot! You're supposed to be smarter than this. Oh, fuck. So, Coulson is still keeping things professional. In fairness, we don't know for sure if she was trying to play him. And there is still some stuff going on with the ATCU that he should probably learn more about. Keeping the Inhumans captured in stasis, that's kind of questionable. You're working on finding a cure for Inhumans. What does that mean? How do you plan on curing Inhumans of her powers? What do you mean by curing exactly? I don't know, but they're planting some big seeds for civil war here. I just hope to God that these two fuck like rabbits before that thing drops. So yeah, everything with those two was great. Made frustrating only by the fact that the sexual tension just keeps rising and Phil Coulson, human cockblock, still won't do a damn thing about it. Do I have to push your two heads together, Phil? Just do it, man. Come on. I want to see this. Fuck. This episode was interesting in that it had a big theme of people being so emotionally invested in personal matters that they're not thinking clearly and maybe not doing their jobs properly. So we've got a whole bunch of characters here that are either seriously emotionally compromised or they're about to be. Bobby is perhaps subconsciously sandbagging about getting back in the field after her injury because maybe she was rattled by it more than she thought she was. Coulson, despite his built-in cockblock, is allowing himself to get closer to Rosalind Price than maybe is entirely wise, and vice versa. I mean, that goes for Rosalind too, being not so subtle about kind of having a thing for Coulson. Daisy is being so overeager to make headway on this Inhuman mission and to find out who Lash is, that she's kind of grasping at straws, because if she hadn't been, if she'd taken some time to think about this, she probably would have ruled out Banks a lot quicker. Hunter is being incredibly reckless due to the Bobby situation and him wanting to get out of the doghouse with everyone else. Fitz and Simmons are both trying really hard to pretend that they're fine with the space asshole situation, which is really only serving to prove how not fine they both are. And then there's May. Poor May, who was doing a really good job at keeping her emotions under control before she knew that her former husband of many years was a monstrous Inhuman killer. But I don't think she's going to be able to do that for much longer. So, really, the only character on the show who's still keeping a level head right now is Mac. And how long can we expect that to last at the rate they're going? I don't know. But there's a lot of interesting character stuff going on here. As for the rest, so we had the big reveal of Lash's identity, which I thought came off great. The Coulson-Rosalind stuff is always fun, even though the fact that these two haven't fucked yet is making me a little nuts. But I think it's supposed to, so well done on that. Everything Hunter did was gold. I was just laughing at everything he did. Clearly there's some big Fitzsimmons stuff getting ready to boil over, and the mystery of what exactly Space Asshole is, and yeah, I'm calling him a what, not a who, I think is going to be really interesting. It was great to see Bobby back in the field, even though I'm afraid we may not see her in a lab coat again now, and that makes me sad. However, her and May working together like they did pretty much reduced me to a walking erection for a while, and seriously, keep the glasses, Bobby. Please, just keep them. And wear them often. Please. If there's a weakness here, it's that I really didn't buy the Banks fake out. You know, Daisy and Mac are going after Banks, and Daisy is so sure that he's the one they want, so sure that he's Lash, and it was so obviously not going to be him. Did not buy that. Like I said, if she was thinking clearly and wasn't being so worked up and emotional about this, she would have ruled him out a lot more quickly than she did. But it didn't take away from the true reveal, in my opinion, though. So there was a lot to like about this one. I can't believe this is only the 6th episode of the season. And look how much story they've covered already. Remember in the first half of season 1 when people were complaining about the pacing being too slow? Uh, yeah, that's not an issue anymore. So another strong outing from S.H.I.E.L.D. this week, and I can't wait to see where some of these plot threads go. Seriously, this space asshole thing is... Yeah, just... What is this guy? Because that's... What did he do to Simmons? Because if you think about the possibilities of what he might be, there's some really sinister implications here for how Simmons might have been affected by him. Yeah. I'm not talking about the space baby theory because, she went through all the medical testing when they got her back. So they would know if there was a space baby, but there's a lot of other stuff that could have happened to her. And that's frightening. Okay. Come on. There it goes. At Striffen19 said, something you said on the last live stream got me thinking. You said Simmons' symptoms didn't match with what she had been through. Then I started thinking about what she might have instead of PTSD. What if she is actually going through withdrawal? Maybe Will introduced something into her system to get her to trust him. Think back to what she told Andrew, that she doesn't feel safe. Yeah, that's a good point. It could have been, something on the planet was affecting her, physically. I'm sure that was part of it. It also could be, it also could have been shock. Let's say let's assume that she was being mentally manipulated in some way, and then was suddenly yanked away from that. She could be feeling the effects of that. That's another theory. But yeah, I don't think you're way up. I don't think this sounds out of the question at all. I think it's very plausible. I thought for sure that it was going to be a Hulk situation with Andrew where he and Lash are two separate personalities, but it looks like he's in complete control when in Lash form. I'm calling it right now. By the end of the season, either he's going to die, hopefully by saving one of the team from Hydra, or maybe the ATCU will have a cure to help him. Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if maybe by the end of the season, May will have to kill him. I kind of like that one better, actually. Just because I'm a sadistic fucker. I want to see May be completely destroyed, and then see how she reacts to it. But yeah, I mean, this could happen too. I also think it's a possibility that he could wind up on Planet Death, and be stranded there. Because I don't know. It just feels like when you've got a situation like that, with an evil planet that wants to trap people there, I think you got to end a story with somebody being trapped there. I think maybe. So who knows? But yeah, I don't think it's a Jekyll and Hyde thing. I think he is very aware of what he's doing when he's Lash. They did, they made that pretty clear. Like when he changed back and he burned everything, it's like, yeah, he knows what he's doing. Even though she is home safe with her friends, but she seemed fine with Will on that planet, I have one problem with the mystery planet being Ego, mainly that Ego changes its form to lure beings to its surface, so it can absorb them, but Simmons was there for months and was completely fine, so why did it not do so the first chance it got? That's a good point. They may have made some changes to the comics, if we're assuming that it is Ego. Huh. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe it's not as simple as just having them on the planet. Maybe it takes more than that. Maybe they have to be dead before it can absorb them. Maybe it's something else. That is a good question. I don't have a good answer. But there's a ton of information about this situation that we still don't know. All we know for sure is that something is very wrong about that space asshole motherfucker. And there's obviously a lot more information coming about the planet and the Death Creature. So we shall see. And let's see if there's any more Twitter questions. Oh yeah, there might be. Hang on. Okay. And Coastal Idius. Yeah, already did that one. Coastal Idius. Oh, if this makes you feel better, somewhere in the multi. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Did that one. At 1-8 Zach. Thing about the arrow, Laurel compared her hero skill to the Green Arrow skills that pissed me off. Yeah, not sure what Laurel thought she was doing there. Okay. Let's see. Oh boy. A lot of questions here. Alright. Luke and Stone. Good parts to Arrow, Constantine. Never seen this show, but he was enjoyable throughout this episode. Also, Quentin telling the truth on Diggle's brother builds well on his character's redemption. Yeah, they've done a nice turnaround with Quentin, haven't they? He was becoming pretty unlikable last season, but they've done a nice job rehabbing him. Okay, the Save Me one. S.H.I.E.L.D. is wasting no time in getting into things this season. They've had 3 episodes in a row now that were good enough to be mid-season finales. Yeah, that's something I think the actors were saying on Tumblr. That's like every episode feels like it could be like a mid-season finale because there's a lot of big stuff happening over and over and over, like week after week. So yeah, the pacing is really huge here. They're doing a lot of big stuff. So it makes me wonder what they actually are going to do for a mid-season finale because wow, they got a lot of balls in the air. Let's see, and we are only 6 episodes in. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this plays out. Yeah. Jacob Walton, off off topic. Thoughts on Rollins being stripped of the title and out 9 months with a torn ACL. WWE is holding a tournament at Survivor Series. Who do you want to win? Well, it's not just an ACL. It's a torn ACL, an MCL, and torn meniscus, as I heard it. So 9 months, I think, is being generous. I think he'll be out probably longer than that. Tournament at Survivor Series. Well, what else can they do? Who do you want to win? There really aren't a ton of good options. I mean, Reigns was really the only person they built up, and he may have been in line to win the title anyway. So I guess it would make sense for him. There's some speculation that Sheamus could cash in Money in the Bank, which I can see why they'd want to do it, why they might feel like they have no choice to do it, but wow, that would suck. Problem is not so much who they want to win the title, but who do they replace Rollins with? Because they really haven't built up any other strong heels to take his place. So what's going to happen with that? I have this terrible feeling that they're just going to re-elevate Sheamus. And wow, he is not in a good position to do that right now. Let's see, That Gaming Asshole. I didn't get too much out of the transformation effects, but I was pretty shocked that Andrew was actually Lash. I was damn sure that Lash was going to be someone else. Okay, well, there you go. You're surprising. I think the Powers Booth thing was a good diversion. When you see him show up, you figure, oh, well, he's going to be playing someone evil. So I got a feeling a lot of people were looking to him to be Lash, actually. So yeah, it's good that they shocked some people here. That was good. Let's see. But I knew it the moment Von Strucker, who I believe is still alive, said that he was a monster. Why call Ward a monster? He wasn't scared of Ward. He was scared of Lash, though. So he must have seen him. Yeah, that was another indicator. I guess that was kind of a tease where you thought he was talking about Ward, but really was someone else. That one was kind of obvious. Yeah. Uh, Also, part of me says that I hate Rosalind and Phil getting together because I want him and May to be a thing, but on the other hand, it works for some reason really well. Yeah, that reason is chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry. For Coulson and May, I've never seen them as romantic. I know a lot of people ship them together, but I don't see it. They're very close. They trust each other implicitly, and I think there is a little bit of an attraction there. But I never pictured them in a romantic context. I don't think they played it that way. I don't know. I guess I'm in the minority on that one. But, yeah, I mean Coulson and Rosalind, they need to fuck. That gaming asshole. I was yelling kiss her at the screen. I was tweeting that, dude. It's like kiss, kiss, kiss. When is this going to happen? Oh my god, this saved me one. How big of a wedge is Rosalind going to drive between Coulson and Daisy? Next week looks like Daisy and Rosalind are finally going to have a girl-to-girl talk. Yeah, Daisy's going to have a talk with the stepmom, huh? They released a preview clip where they were talking. Yeah, Daisy doesn't like her, doesn't trust her. But Coulson has let her on the plane at that point. I would like to see this generate some tension between Coulson and Daisy. And you can see there's already a little bit of a rift there because Daisy is keeping in touch with Lincoln, and it doesn't look like she's told anyone else about it. So, yeah, they're keeping secrets. There will probably be more secrets as a result of this. The Save Me one. Fitz may want to help Will because he helped Simmons stay alive, but it's clear he doesn't trust him. Whether or not that's justified or just jealousy is yet to be determined. Oh, I think it's 100% jealousy at this point. He might not want to admit that, but Fitz is going to feel really threatened by this, and he's going to be jealous, and he's going to think, oh God, this is the guy that Gemma had a relationship with. This is the guy that could potentially take her away once we get him back. I want to know everything there is to know about this guy. I want to know what I'm dealing with here, and that is understandable. But I think in his efforts to learn everything there is to know about this guy, he's going to discover some details about him that are not going to add up once he meets him, like the non-aging thing, and why his backstory isn't what he said it was, and details like that. They're having Fitz research this thing for a reason. It's probably mostly jealousy right now, but it's going to play into the story later. It's like, well, now I knows all this stuff, and oh, now that I meet you, okay, all this stuff that I learned when I was reading up on you, that doesn't make sense now. Why is that? Something's wrong about you. And it's not because I'm jealous of you. There's something else. That gaming asshole. If the portal is a wormhole, it may be a temporal portal instead of a spatial one. There are very complex reasons why that I don't fully understand myself. But basically, wormholes are formed in pairs. If they are created in a very specific way, under certain conditions, the further they go apart in space, the further they are separated in time as well. Okay. In other words, that planet may be millions of years in the past or future, or a timeline that no longer exists due to the many worlds physics model. Time and space are kind of the same thing under certain conditions, like wormholes, singularities, and the like. Okay. But he still knows the time that he was sent there. And obviously he knows he's been there for a really long fucking time at that point. And he seemed to accept that he'd been there for 14 years when Gemma told him it was 2015. So, it's possible, but I don't think so. No, I think, if they're sending him into the past, he's still been there for a really fucking long time. Costeletius, could Space Asshole be an Inhuman? Possibly. Uh, it maybe, but I don't think it's. I don't think that would be an indicator either way. I think they established in an earlier episode that it was liquefying because something was triggering it on the other side, and due to like the stars and like the position of the planets and stuff. Um, could he be an Inhuman? Maybe, but um, remember, Daisy started to feel sick when being around that thing when it was opening. Could just be because of her powers or because she's just an Inhuman. We don't know. Is he an Inhuman? I would suspect not, but it's possible. Let's see. Jacob Walton. I think that Joey will be the one to use his powers to melt the remains of the monolith in order for Fitzsimmons to go back. That's a good idea. He has the power to make metal. They established that this thing was made of metal. Someone said alien metals have different properties. Yeah, that is a good idea. I think they might just do that, actually. That's brilliant. Good thinking on that one. I think that may be where they're going. Good call. Luke and Stone. Andrew equals Lash theory confirmed. Yes, and agreed on the A+ rating for how it went down. Yeah, very, very impressive work from Mark Kolpak and the visual effects team there. I was very impressed. Luke and Stone. Also, if you're right about Ego the Living Planet guy, Gemma will be the one person to think Fitz is just being jealous when he starts putting two and two together, and it won't be a good look for her. I don't think it'll just be her. If he starts telling other people about his suspicions, I think most if not all of them will dismiss it as his jealousy. And no one's going to believe him. Maybe someone will believe him. Possibly Mac or Bobby. But for the most part, they're all just going to say, dude, we know you're jealous. It's okay. You don't have to do this. Just suck it up and get it done. Yeah, I don't think they'll believe him. So I think he's going to be alone in that until he proves it. Yeah. The Save Me one. Ego may just want his own version of Adam and Eve. Oh, it's interesting that you put it that way, because Ego in the comics does have the power to make the planet look like a paradise, doesn't he? And they said, and Space Asshole did say in the flashback episode that they theorized that the planet was a lush paradise at one point, like the Garden of Eden. See? It all fits together, doesn't it? Adam and Eve. Wow. Let's see. Zach Harris, May and Bobby, beautiful, dangerous combo. Beautifully dangerous combo. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I think the height difference is really funny, too. Because Adrian Palicki, she's a very tall woman. Zach Harris, I have to admit, I got a kick out of Hunter and his antics in this episode. Loose cannon Hunter equals fun for the fans, not so much for his teammates. Yeah, I know. He's one of those guys where he's a lot of fun to watch, but if you were actually around him, you'd want to strangle him. You'd want to strangle him. Remove yourself from that situation and just watch him as a fan. It's hilarious. That gaming asshole, Hunter and Bobby were unforgivably stupid in this episode. I was glad when May kicked her ass. But I have to give Bobby a pass because she's basically Power Girl. Also, Rosalind and Phil reenact Pretty Woman. I disagree with you on Bobby. Hunter was stupid, yes. The reason I gave him a pass on that is because that's the way they played it. Yeah, he was doing stupid things, and everyone said he was doing stupid things. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, he does this asinine, idiotic move, and then and no one acknowledges that. Like on The Flash, Barry does stupid shit all the time, and they don't say, Barry, you're being an idiot. They just play it as like completely normal behavior. So he doesn't learn anything from it. No, here, Hunter does a stupid thing, and everyone says, Hunter, stop doing stupid things! So they're not making excuses for it. That gaming asshole. 7 out of 10, good but not great. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Damn. Time for some cough medicine. Sean Simon. Sean Simon. The thing about Arrow, Laurel compared her hero skill to the Green Arrow's skill. That pissed me off. I think you were the guy from Twitter. Okay. Yep. Totally agree. Zach Harris. Not only does Coulson cockblock himself, but he also turns down a free burger. Yeah, why are you wasting food, Phil? Dude, give it to a homeless person or something. I mean, somebody's going to want to eat that. Don't just throw it away. Come on, man. Luke and Stone. Hunter's probably 100% right that Ward's guys would have tried to kill Andrew even if he didn't take the shot. Then he handles Banks like a crazy genius. Then it turns out that Andrew survived and is Lash. Yeah, I don't think Hunter's going to be taking a lot of heat for the Ward thing anymore. Oh, no. Hunter, Ward absolutely would have killed Andrew. Maybe not in that precise moment. Maybe he would have wanted him captured alive and used as leverage. But no, yeah, it was absolutely 100% his intent to kill Andrew. So I think in that moment, Hunter made the only call that he could. It was either, pull out and let Ward kill Andrew anyway, or just, take the shot and try to take Ward down while he's there. So I think Hunter made the right call in that moment, but it was still a situation that he was kind of responsible for. Even though, yeah, Andrew was a dead man anyway. Luke and Stone. Yeah, I don't think Hunter's going to be taking a... Yeah, okay. The Save Me one. I thought the Supergirl was better this week than last week. I was surprised they had the fight between the aunt and her so soon, but the fight scene was really good. Okay. All right, I've said this before, but pilots are rarely perfect. It's okay if it got better, good. I saw some clips of it that did not make me optimistic. Apparently, Supergirl, she's got a crush on Jimmy Olsen already. In the second episode. Okay, not wasting any time on that, huh? So I guess they're gonna do a love triangle with her and Jimmy and that annoying work friend. God. Whatever. Ionizel? Hope that's how it's pronounced. I don't think Space Asshole is an inhuman. I think he's an antibody created by Ego to try to keep Gemma on the planet long enough for Ego to consume her. Okay, yeah. Well, we know he was a real person at one point. We learned that here. So I think he was probably normal human astronaut until he went to that planet, and then something changed him. Either he was consumed by the planet and corrupted by it, or else he died and was resurrected by it, or maybe the planet killed him and then created this new version of him modeled after the original. I mean, if it has mental powers of to learn things about you, that's not a big stretch. Maybe it created like a proxy of it, of this guy, modeled after the original to coerce Gemma into doing something or staying there. I think it's going to be something like that. Let's see. Greg Sharp Vlogs. Hi. Do you know Roman Atwood? No. I don't know who that is. That gaming asshole. The planet is definitely ego. The planet is definitely ego. The question is, what does that mean in this case? Oh, I absolutely think it's ego. Yeah, but what version of ego? What have they changed and what have they kept the same from the comics? We don't know yet, but we will find out. Save me one. What do you think of the Punisher getting a Netflix show replacing Iron Fist? Why would it replace Iron Fist? I don't see why it would do that. I mean, they've at this rate. I mean, they must have a good amount of pre-production done on Iron Fist. I don't see why they yank it to make room for the Punisher. I think Punisher is a prime candidate to get his own Netflix show in addition to Iron Fist and the others. So I would not be surprised at all if that happens in the not too distant future. But replacing Iron Fist, why would they do that? No, they've got plans in motion to set up the Defenders, and they have had those plans for quite a while now. So that's the plan. It's Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, possibly Daredevil Season 2, and then the Defenders. And after that, maybe we'll get the Punisher. In a show of his own. Magpie's Nest Productions, have you watched The Librarians? No. No, it's not really my type of show. It's a little too silly. That gaming asshole. Supergirl is incredibly bad. One of the worst shows on TV. It's just... it's just basic rom-com nonsense covered by a thin veil of comic booky crap and feminist propaganda. Such fuckery. Yeah, that was the impression that I have gotten as well. And I'm not a fan. That gaming asshole. I have said this before, but as bad as Gotham got from time to time, there are individual episodes of shows far worse. Supergirl is a series made up of those episodes. All right, well, you might be a little harsh there since only 2 episodes have aired. We'll see what happens after maybe half a season. Ian Izzle, that's exactly what I was thinking. If the planet has mental abilities, it could probably know what Gemma's type is. Remembered killing a guy that roughly resembles that said type and created him. Maybe. I don't think it's so much about Gemma's type or her having a type. What I think, and they dropped some clues about this, I think they subtly modeled this guy after her father. Maybe if it's true that they took his basic, appearance and then modeled it and maybe took some inspiration from the original guy and then modeled him in such a way that would cause Gemma to grow to trust him. Maybe took a peek inside Gemma's mind and gave him some character traits that subtly, maybe in ways that she didn't quite notice, reminded her of her father. Because, remember, they were talking about her father twice in 2 scenes in that episode. And afterward, she says, she's talking about her father just before the portal opens, and she's like, actually, you sometimes you remind me of... And then the flare goes off. Whatever she was about to say was definitely a clue of some kind. I definitely think the planet gave him some character traits that would remind her of her father, making her more inclined to trust him. Because that line was definitely a clue, I think. Let's see. Magpie's Nest Production. What do you want to see from Iron Fist? Oh, boy. I've never really read the Iron Fist comics. I've flipped through a couple of them. Like the Carr Andrews stuff, I've flipped through that in the store. Never collected them though. I don't really know. I'm going in there. I'm going into that one with no expectations. If I had to guess, I would say maybe make it some kind of like a story like a modern day kung fu, Um, because I mean, there's gonna be some some similarities to Daredevil, at least in the fights. Yeah, because you got to figure, the stuff we saw in Daredevil, it was not going to be that dissimilar because they're both like martial artists and stuff. I would suspect that there's going to be a lot of stories rooted in mysticism, um, because they kind of they kind of set up the Kunlun connection in that one episode of Daredevil, the Stick episode. Uh, so yeah, I would suspect that maybe there will be more magic in there. But maybe more special effects than we're used to seeing in the Netflix shows. Uh, but aside from that, I'm not really sure. I don't know what kind of rogues gallery Iron Fist has. So yeah, I have no expectations right now, but Iron Fist. But I am looking forward to it. I mean, after Daredevil season one, dude, sign me the fuck up for every Netflix show. They can make as many of those as they want. I'll watch all of them. Luke and Stone. Apparently, between Supergirl's pilot and episode 2, they realized the whole calling Superman him thing is weird because they actually started calling him by name again after the pilot. Did they? Alright, that's good. Maybe they weren't sure if they could get the rights to use the name when they filmed the pilot, and maybe since then they struck some kind of deal where they can use it again? That would be my guess. Magpie's Nest Productions. Look like Daredevil Season 2 is coming out before Luke Cage. You may be right. I mean, they have a teaser trailer for Season 2. And last I heard from Mike Coulter in that interview he did at the New York Comic Con, I believe, they're still filming Luke Cage. So, who knows? Marvel does have all these things well planned out, so it's possible that they might just, get Daredevil season 2 in the can and just sit on it for a while. Because I do believe, Luke Cage was scheduled to drop first. At least that's what they've been saying. But maybe not. I don't know. I do kind of hope that they'll stick to a kind of an order. See, I would like, I like the idea of them introducing the Defenders one at a time and then doing the Defenders miniseries and then going to Daredevil season 2. That may not be where they're going at this point, though. Luke and Stone. But yeah, almost everything about Kara's lack of a relationship with Clark on this show would make sense if she hadn't said in the first minute that he was the one who discovered her. Thank you. He found her. He dropped her off with a foster family, and then apparently he just zoomed off and never saw her again. That's what the pilot would have us believe. Because, she met him. He was the first person she met, the first person who found her, and yet she seems to have no relationship with the guy at all. Makes no sense. Save Me One. Reports are Marvel can't make up their minds if Iron Fist should be a show or a movie. No, it's going to be a Netflix show. They signed a deal with Netflix to produce a certain number of television shows. Iron Fist is one of them. It's going to be a show. That Gaming Asshole. Supergirl is what happens when you ask Anita Sarkeesian to write a comic book show based on a 15-year-old girl. Oh, boy. Ian Nizzle, do you think Lash is going to end up dead? I can't help but feel like they're going to talk some sense into him and add him to the team. I don't know. Even if that were a possibility, he's killed a number of people, large number of people. I mean, so he's got a lot to answer for. So I don't think it's going to be that simple of just putting him on the team. No, he's committed a number of crimes, and I don't think Coulson has the legal authority to absolve him of that. I would suspect he's going to end up dead because he's a villain. They don't typically stay alive if they stick to like a one villain a season format, uh, like they have been doing so far. Then, I would think that he's going to get killed. Another possibility would be if he gets banished to Planet Death. They can always surprise us though. But I don't see them adding him to the team. No, he's a killer, and they're gonna have a problem with that. It just seems like Lash is misguided. I get the feeling he's targeting Inhumans because he blames them for the change in May. That is an angle I hadn't thought of. Maybe. I think it's the way it is in the comics is he finds new Inhumans and kills them. It kills all the ones that he deems unworthy. And he doesn't see himself as a bad guy. They had that episode a couple weeks ago where he says, I'm not merciful, I'm necessary. So he sees himself as a necessary evil. Which would make sense if the reason why he's doing this is because of what happened to May. So yeah, you might be onto something there. It does remain to be. It is. There was a question of how he would know that little girl was an Inhuman. Maybe he just assumed. Otherwise, I'm not sure how he'd be able to find that out. But we'll see. You might be right about that. See, Magpie's Nest Productions. David Tennant looks awesome in the trailer. Do you agree? What little we saw of him, yeah. It looks like they're going for a more subtle thing, and not having him be, straight up purple. Like not just painting him purple, but doing it with lighting and camera work and stuff. I think there was one shot that I saw. I don't know if it was in the trailer, but where I think he's standing in a hallway, and just because of the lighting and maybe the camera filters, he looks purple. But it's not done with makeup. It's done with the just like the visual aesthetic of the scene, and I think that's a really creative way to do it. Because if you wanted to paint him purple, that might not come off so well. So I kind of like that idea. But yeah, he looks good. Damn. Time for some NyQuil, I think. Where does this cough come from? Okay, that gaming asshole is peacing out for the night. Alright, thanks for joining us. And I will give it another minute or two, but it looks like we've reached the bottom of the chat room. Anything else on Twitter? No? Okay. Here we go. Luke and Stone. Knowing how May deals with betrayal, I don't think she would want Lash to be added to the team scot-free. Oh, hell no. No, she'll never stand for that. I see her both breaking down in tears and trying to beat his ass before the conflict ends. Yes. I don't know if she'd break down in tears exactly, but she's definitely going to be fighting a lot of emotions. And I think we could see her in a situation where she is finally emotionally compromised, because until now she's been like the last person that would ever happen to. But yeah, this is like the one situation where we might actually see it happen, and that's why I really like this, because of how it's going to affect her, and because of like they can really explore emotional territory with May that they've never gone to before. And they haven't really had the opportunity to do before because she is so closed off. So yeah, on that basis alone, I really like what they could do with her character here. They could give Ming-Na Wen some really meaty stuff to do with this storyline. And that's nice because she hasn't had too much stuff like that. Okay. Oh, wait. Magpie's Nest Productions, the 21st, because I'm Aussie, I can't wait for Jessica Jones. Yeah, that's coming up pretty soon. Yeah, that's like I think it's in like what was it like something like 2 weeks or something. I don't know exactly, but this month. Wow, that came up. Yeah, I'm very excited for Jessica Jones. Yeah, the more media I see about it, the more I'm digging it. So I'm pretty stoked for that. And 11:47. Okay, you know what? I think that'll about do it. Um, Once again, I'm sorry about the lack of a comment section. I don't know why that is. I'm still trying to figure it out. Um, if any one of you knows how to enable a comment section in a Google Plus Hangout, please tell me because I'm drawing a blank so far. I'm testing the stream constantly, trying to figure out what happened and how to reverse it. I can't. I'm still coming up with nothing. So I guess until then, until such time as I can re-enable the comment section, we will be using the chat room, which most of you seem to like. So that'll work. I prefer the comment section because it's easier to keep track of things. Plus, you can write longer questions and comments if you want to. And some people like doing that. But yeah, we'll see. So I guess we're going to be sticking with the comment section, the chat room for now. And that will do it for tonight. Good stream tonight, you guys. Had a lot of fun with this. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you Wednesday, right after Impact for the Impact stream. And this time, same time, the usual time, rather, 10 p.m. Eastern on next Thursday night for the Comic Show Post Show next week. Till then, over, out, and I will talk to you later. Good night.